I knew it was going to try and put an ad on there for me. See, this is what happens when you try and do a song through YouTube. They try and get you to do ads. So in a second, I'm going to do our intro. But wait for this ad before the bugs to die. Get your raid, you bastards. Anyway.
Free promotion for raid.
Right? Bastards.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Does anybody want... Oh, YouTube, don't you dare be sour. Click, like, and feel the power of the War Report. Brought to you by Tag.
Yes, it is.
Wrestling night is now date night. Yes, it is.
War.
Amen, my brother.
War.
Preach.
Report.
Oh, man. Now that you've seen the three whitest guys on the internet dance along to the New Day theme, welcome to the War Report, brought to you by TagMeAtDate.com. I am your host, as usual, Vince Barry from Northeast Wrestling. And we have with us the TagMeAtDate.com crew. As it's been the last couple months, our buddy Ryan, the intern, is MIA for the first half of the show because he has to work a late shift. He'll be coming join us later. Who knows if Charlie's going to drop in. He sometimes does. He may or may not. I think after last week with Jim Cornette, he might be taking a little bit of a break from the internet. I'm hoping, but we'll see.
You never know.
We've got Steve and Eric here from Tag Me a Date. Did you guys see Charlie actually had an artist draw up the T-shirt he was talking about, the Jimmy's Super Kick Party?
Yeah, yes. It was awesome. I want one.
Fantastic. I will begrudgingly purchase one because I'm a fan of the Young Bucks, but I'm also a fan of Jim Cornette. So I feel like somewhere in the middle there that's the reconciliation is buying that T-shirt, I suppose. But oh my goodness, he took it
from Cornette either from last week's episode.
Nothing yet, huh? I mean, he's probably stewing. Like, here's the thing: he's probably listened to it. He's probably not like. How many times are you going to comment publicly on the Vince Russo thing? You know, it's been going on for 20 years, so maybe he's finally just not responding to that shit anymore.
Yeah,
no. Be the healthiest. Like, honestly, it'll be the healthiest thing for Jim Cornette is to let that go. Like Kevin Dunn. And Vince Russo, not just let it, like he's got, and he hates Shawn Michaels. Just let all the hate, let it go, man. Like, put it out there. But
it's the power of positivity.
Exactly. We're looping back around to the power of positivity. That's the theme for today. Back to the new day.
Well, this is actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about, especially talking about Raw, because we had the very weird Wyatt family versus New Day at the Wyatt's compound match.
Brother Xavier!
And I have yet to watch the Hardys TNA match. I have
No, that's not... No. You have to put some time aside, watch that match.
Yeah, no, I've heard that from everybody, and I will. I will be watching. However, I do hear that a lot of what was seen in this compound match kind of appeared as to be somewhat the idea taken from that match,
right?
From TNA, which I find a little suspect in the sense that why would WWE feel the need to mimic something that TNA just did as if they were competition, you know? And then I kind of wanted to throw it out to you guys and see what you guys actually thought of that match. I mean, it was the first time something like that's ever been done. It seemed very theater to me. I'm very. A part of me thought it was kind of cool, and the other part of me was kind of. I don't know. I was kind of undecided on it. It was just kind of weird. And I don't necessarily say it was weird in a bad way, but I'm not 100% sold on it either. I wanted to see what you guys thought.
I think if you have an opportunity, again, if you haven't seen this freaking Hardys match, check it out. The similarities are there, only I would say that the Hardys thing was a little more tongue-in-cheek, a little more goofy. Like, here's the thing, the Hardys know that this shit's a work. They know that this is a goofy TNA thing, and freaking 300,000 people maybe see it on Pop TV. So they're pretty much, this is their creative, like,
This
They
is
just
their
get to-
Sharknado, if you will.
Right, it's their Sharknado, because you know it's a joke, because at one point, Matt Hardy is about to get hit with some Roman candle fire from Jeff, and Matt looks at the camera and goes, "Oh shit!" And then he runs over and hides behind a boat while screaming, "Look, a dilapidated boat!" So, like, that's his...
If anything, there's a lot of great quotes from it.
There are, and
There's
there are
an infinite amount,
flashbacks in the middle of the match. My buddy Kevin Keenan is the referee. He pulls up, and he's like...
was him.
That was Kevin Keenan. Yeah, it was wonderful. Formerly of the WWE version of ECW, formerly of WWE Developmental, formerly of Ring of Honor, and then he smacked Mandy's ass and got fired, which is a bullshit situation, but I won't get into that right now. Because I'd like to work for Ring of Honor one day, so I'm not going to totally shit on them, but I will say that Kevin getting let go of that was pretty dumb.
Mandy Leon?
Yeah, Mandy Leon. There was a situation where they were working in like New Orleans or something, and after the show, Kevin Keenan caught up with a group of wrestlers and slapped her on the ass, which you do. I mean, listen, guy or girl, if you're in the locker room, you're probably going to get your ass slapped. It's like being on a football team or a baseball team or anything else. You're in the locker room, you're as one of the guys. Honestly, at this point, Mandy, to me, is another dude. And I know that probably sounds offensive to her, and don't take it as an offense. It's just that she's there, she's in the locker room, she's working, so to me, she's a co-worker. She's not a, someone that's there to be hit on. So he slapped her on the ass just as like, "Hey, how you doing?" Slapped her on the ass. Turns out Hunter, whose real name Hunter, his name is Delirious, books Ring of Honor. Him and Mandy were dating or are dating, and he took offense to it and shit canned Kevin. Kevin went back on Facebook and put up, he's like, "Yeah, well, fuck you, Hunter, because you're married and you're dating Mandy," and like blew up his whole spot. So it's like it was drama.
Oh, wow.
So I understand everybody's response in this situation. I don't think anybody was particularly correct in the way that they responded to it, because Kevin probably shouldn't have said that shit afterward. Hunter Delirious probably shouldn't have fired him flat out for that. And I think cooler heads could have prevailed. But so Kevin Keenan, when he came out, Matt said something about, "I saw you in my visions," right? He said something weird about the referee, like he summoned the referee with his dreams. I was like, all right, and he shows up. Okay, see, this is the last. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore.
The violin.
Yeah, right, the violin. Fucking nobody gets entrance music. Matt Hardy is standing in the ring playing the violin as Jeff walks in. Brother Nero, Oh.
Did you see that GIF with it was Matt, but it was set to Fiddler on the Roof?
Yes.
The meme.
What about during the episode of Impact? Every couple minutes they would cut back to the Hardys, and they had fucking 7 helicopter drones fly into Jeff's house. There was a poorly photoshopped projector projecting Matt like Princess Leia in the first Star Wars movie. Only he's in red, and Brother Nero, face your destruction in our backyard, and all this bullshit, right? And he's floating in the air. The response by Jeff is to take a guitar and hit the drone, but another drone has captured that footage in slow motion. So instead of seeing him hit the drone in fast motion, they just hard cut. It's craziness. You have to watch this match. It is not even a match. This is theater with wrestling involved. It's not even, it transcends thinking. Don't even think of it as a match. Don't even think of it as a match. It's like, remember when Sting and Vampiro fought in the graveyard in WCW?
Yes.
Boom. It's kind of like that, only about 1,000 times goofier. And I can't say anything bad about it because it's not bad. It just is. It is what it is. It's fun wrestling stuff.
It's not like the White Castle of Fear.
Yes. Okay. You know what? What they're doing is
they're not quite that goofy.
Right. Matt knows. Here's the thing. I don't know if they knew in 1994 that that Faces of Fear thing and all that was going to be as goofy as it was, or the Dungeon of Doom thing was going to the Alliance to End Hulkamania and all that. They didn't know it was goofy. It was 1994. They know it's goofy now, so he's just doing it, and because they know, it's different that he knows. Because they know, it's a little bit of a wink to all the fans watching. I love it. Steve, just watch it.
Listen, I've heard nothing but great things, so I'm definitely going to check it out. But now this goes back to my original question.
Yes.
Since both of you were speaking quite highly about this match, then I would assume that you guys enjoyed the Wyatt New Day compound match.
I've been sick the last couple of days, so I haven't been watching much TV. I saw some clips of it. and it looks like they took it a little more seriously. Obviously, WWE is going to take it a little more seriously than
Oh yeah.
TNA did, but I did like the thing where at the end it looked like they got away, and then just all the headlights lit up.
And then all the fireflies in the background.
Right. Yeah, it was just like.
Yeah, it was very cool. And
So they're good. I'm glad they did.
I think we got our first small, possible little taste indication of Sister Abigail.
Oh, you think that was her with the mask?
I got that too.
Yeah, I mean, they kept showing the woman with the sheet mask and the white, nightie.
Listen, they didn't say it explicitly, which is more. Sometimes we think that the writers aren't very good because they have to say things very obviously. So when they don't say things obviously and spell it out for you, it's great. So hopefully that's the case here. If they're slow building to it rather than having Michael Cole say, "What was that strange woman in the mask?"
Only Big Cass is going to spell something out for you.
Yeah. He's. I was reading something online. People are very split on his promos. Some people say that Big Cass has gotten better. Some people are like, not so much. He's not that good.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually something I was going to also bring up. I love Enzo and Cass. And I see very big things happening for the both of them. With that being said, I think Cass's promos have gotten much better. But they're not very good.
They're not terrible either, though.
Well, but this is why. He sounds like a robot when he talks.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah.
There is a pause after every word that he says until he gets to soft, and then it speeds up. The SAWFT goes smooth. Everything prior to that, it just sounds very robotic. It needs to sound like a conversation. It needs to sound like you are conducting in front of a whole class of people. It can't sound robotic like you're reading it off a teleprompter. Now, granted, there's no teleprompter, but you know what I'm saying. It's just, to me, that's the problem. He's got everything else. He's got the look. He's got the size. He's got the in-ring ability. It's just, that's the one thing that bothers me. And I think that's the same problem that people are having with him.
It could very well end up being a reverse Diesel Shawn Michaels situation, like Vince had brought up a few weeks ago, where Enzo is going to be the manager, in that role. If there comes a point where Enzo maybe can't wrestle, or they decide that they don't want him to wrestle, but I think they need each other.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think they do need each other. The one thing that I'm trying to... I get what they're doing with... Like, Big Cass, he's got a character that's kind of... I don't want to say like Joey from Friends, but like the delivery and all that is very much, I'm from New York City, and I'm going to talk very deliberately for this. Like, and I get it, but at the same time, sometimes he sounds really fucking dumb, right? Like, sometimes he sounds intimidating, and sometimes he just sounds like, I don't know what my name is.
Well, also, you got. I think we all have to, and I think we do understand that
he's green.
Enzo is just so amazing that you really see the difference in the mic work.
But see, that I agree. But see, that's also what makes them a great team. They complement each other very well.
Absolutely.
Enzo has the mic skills, and he's not bad in the ring. Cass has the in-ring ability, bar none, and he lacks on the mic skills. So it's a nice, mix of the two.
Right.
But I feel like they're giving Cass each week more and more to say, and that's perfect.
They don't need to. Yeah, I think that if they're... What are they doing? Are they building them as a tag act, or are they building them as... Cass is the singles guy who occasionally has a tag team partner that's also his manager?
I think that's the way it's headed.
Because they're talking about... I mean, they brought...
Especially after the concussion scare with Enzo.
Yeah, and they brought Cena... I mean, this tells you how much they think of Enzo and Cass. They brought Cena into their feud.
Right.
It's not it wasn't them interfering in John Cena's feud. It's essentially John Cena coming in to help them, which is it's a twist,
I
which
think
means
this is going to be the purpose of Cena's involvement with Crime Time. Only they're in a better spot.
Work. Well,
right, but here's the thing too, and I'm just gonna throw this out there for everybody that shits on John Cena on a regular basis. The man flew from LA to Detroit for a 5-minute spot on Raw to then turn around and fly back so he could host the ESPYs tomorrow. That's fucking dedication and loyalty. The man is a fucking workhorse.
And did you see him like squat, deadlift 500 pounds?
Yeah, he's a fucking beast. He's an absolute animal. But you know what, too? It's just, I don't know. It's just, the crowd was great, though. Because they started chanting, "We want Cena," and then the other half was like, "No, we don't." It was hilarious. But he had an overwhelming response when he came out to save Enzo and Cass. So that was a great spot. That was cool because nobody expected Cena to be there.
No, not at all.
And I gotta say too, overall, I think Raw was actually start to finish was really, really good last night. It started off with the Battle Royal, where winner was gonna face Miz for the IC title. The minute I saw Bob Backlund ringside, I knew Darren Young was winning.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
And I'll be honest with you, I think Darren Young is beating the Miz at Battleground.
So do I.
Right.
I think he's winning the title, and he's gonna win using the crossface chicken wing.
No. This is almost as bad as the Miz getting the figure 4 from Ric Flair, which he never uses anymore.
But you know that's happening because Backlund gave him the crossface. We haven't seen him use it yet.
Yeah, no, he's got to break it out and use it.
The greatest part of that was the celebration, and then Backlund lifted Darren Young in his arms.
And, carried him around the ring.
He's 70. That's amazing.
Tomorrow night, Bob Backlund is doing some sort of appearance regarding his autobiography only a few towns away from me in Middletown, Connecticut. So I might see if I can get there and meet Mr. Backlund. He's insane. I mean, do you remember a couple years ago, and I just mean like fitness-wise, do you remember a couple years ago? Yo, my dad, back in like 92, it was right around, or maybe it was 94, it was right around, I guess, when he was doing that heel run, like he was going to run for president and all that stuff. My dad ran to him downtown Hartford. He says, "Hey, my son's a big wrestling fan. Can I get an autograph this?" He goes, "Only if you can name all the vice presidents in order." Fuck. That was Bob Backlund. Like,
did he give the autograph? Or
no, he didn't. He healed out. He wouldn't give it to him.
But remember, Enzo could do it.
Yeah, Enzo could do the presidents real fast. Like, he switches up. Sometimes he'll say presidents. Sometimes Bob says, Mr. Backlund says vice presidents. Don't ever call him Bob. He'll fucking kill you. Yeah, but do you remember when he did a couple years ago? It was about maybe almost 10 years ago now. He was in TNA with not Steve Corino, that other Jerry Lynn. It was him and Jerry Lynn against the X Division guys. I don't know if you remember this.
I vaguely remember it.
Basically, what happened was, it's not the feud's not the important part. The important part was he was with TNA for a little while, and they would tape 3 or 4 episodes in a day. And the gimmick was during one particular set of tapings that to the side of the entrance, in order to prepare for his X Division match, Bob Backlund just sat there for a whole episode and did the Harvard step test, which is those little steps, and you go 1 step up, 1 step up. It's just 2 steps. You go up, up, and then you go back down, and you do that for as long as you can go, and it's like a cardio workout, and it works out your quads and all that other shit. He did it through 4 tapings and didn't stop.
That's hilarious.
4 episodes. So when the next 4 weeks, they would just show him next to the ramp, just doing the step test, and the people who were there said he stopped maybe a little bit, when he got tired and took some water and toweled off, but he's a machine. He did it for fucking 3 or 4 hours.
That's a man that's going to live a very long time.
And yeah, did you see the video?
He did LaLanne,
He could be, because you see somebody, either Darren or somebody else, filmed him coming down a down escalator, but he held on to the things and then put his legs straight out in front of him and just held his core and his legs out there the entire ride down the escalator.
God damn.
I couldn't do that. My core is not that strong.
He's insane.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Listen, anything that brings guy like Bob Backlund back to TV, I'm happy, because those are the guys. Nowadays, Bob Backlund, it doesn't mean anything to anybody, younger kids. I'm about the youngest person. We're in that group that we remember Bob Backlund.
Oh yeah.
I might not have remembered him from his first run, as much, but being from Connecticut, I was born in '87. Being from Connecticut, Bob Backlund's name always comes up in wrestling. You see him around town. I've seen him in restaurants before.
I saw him at a gas station in Hartford, and he was wearing the bow tie and the straps, and that's how I knew. I didn't bother him. He was pumping gas. But
he actually has a fuel company too in Connecticut. Not gas, but natural gas for houses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so not gasoline, but natural gas for houses. It's a Backlund Fuel or something like that. So
you know what, too? I'm kind of thinking about, and this is kind of changing the subject a little bit, but I'm still thinking about Cass and the way he's conducting his promos. It's the same fucking issue I have with Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
Charlotte's promos, it's the same thing. She just there's such a pause after every word she says. I don't know. Maybe it's the way that creative is telling them to talk now, but
maybe.
I don't know.
Or maybe they're giving them so much stuff.
Does anyone else see that with Charlotte's promos? Like they're just very it's just very. I don't know what the word is. It's just very separated.
I never thought she should have been the person to build the division around anyway, but they have a different opinion. They think because she's got the Flair name, et cetera, she's the one to build the division around. Maybe it's true. I would have picked a different direction. I probably would have said, let's strap a rocket to Sasha Banks and see where that
listen, and that's about to happen. And let me tell you something. She cut another fantastic promo last night. She wrestled a great match as always. She's on the rise. She's taking that belt. I'm very excited.
I certainly hope so.
She's like, I don't get mad. I get real.
Did you guys see last week the 4th of July match? Or the 4th of July Raw, Titus was wrestling Rusev at one point, and he Titus accidentally stepped on Rusev's hand, or like he was doing a stomp, and he legitimately hurt him, and then so check this out. Basically, Titus stomps on him, and then listen for this. Let me play that. Let me see if I can play that.
Thing about that move right
Here,
there.
it's gonna loop because it's on Vine.
Son of a bitch.
So Rusev just said, "Fuck you, you son of a bitch."
That's hilarious.
Oh my god, it was just, and there's 100,000 views on that video. So now, of course, a lot of people have seen it. But holy shit, I died when I saw that replay. I clicked on a link. I just let it play a couple times right in a row. I was like, yeah, that's beautiful. Fuck you, you son of a bitch.
That's
he
hilarious.
says it with accent too. He keeps it going. Fuck you, you son of a bitch. Like he doesn't go out of character, which is nice.
Oh, true professional.
Does he have that accent in real life or no? That's kind of what I want to know.
That I don't know. I've only heard him with the accent, so.
I don't think he does, but if he doesn't, then that means he's really good at putting that accent on.
Well, he's also been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah. Lana's, every so often you felt like in the beginning it almost didn't work, Lana's, but now Lana's I think her accent's gotten much better.
Yeah, it's gotten stronger.
She hasn't said shut up in a long time.
Well, she doesn't really talk as much anymore.
Yeah.
No.
She's really just the look of the team at this point.
And then she does, instead of the ring announcer, they have her. Right, the Bulgarian U.S. champion Rusev. Oh, I suck his dick. Oh.
But at least she's back to wearing the normal attire and not Dolph Ziggler's look.
Thank God. That really was the worst.
You're not Motley Crue, buddy.
Well, here's the thing. Dolph Ziggler did that whole thing where he was going to do an 80s throwback with his attire, and then she followed suit, but she should have just dropped it as soon as she left him. Like, I understand you probably had some outfits left over, but damn, just save the receipt.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, so I mean, Raw. I mean, it just kept going. It was just I love the continued Owens Sami Zayn feud. That's going great.
I love that he had Sami Zayn removed from ringside.
It was hilarious, bro.
Because just in real life, you look at the two guys and you're like, well, this guy's much bigger, and yet he's the one that's afraid. So it's a nice dynamic.
It's just such a heel move. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's just such a great. It was hilarious, and it played out well. So that segment was great. And then, of course, the return of Vince McMahon.
Damn it.
And I mean, listen. I just can't ever get enough of Vince. I love it when he's there. I mean, from the strut down to the ring, everything. Shane and Steph both cut great promos. In the end, it kind of wound up working out the way I thought it was going to. So Shane's now running SmackDown, and Stephanie's running Raw. But
Right.
the real twist is that now we still have 2 general managers that are going to be named. So now they left some more hanging fruit, so to speak. And I'm hearing a very, very big rumor that the general manager of SmackDown is going to be none other than Vince Berry's favorite wrestler of all
I already
time,
heard this rumor. Oh.
Daniel Bryan.
You know, I was kind of hoping all my favorites got drafted to SmackDown. Now I want the opposite to happen. I was like, fuck Monday nights. I can watch football and watch wrestling the next night. I'm fine with it. No, I'll slog through. Oh, my God.
I just think there's a rumor still at this point.
Well, there was a thing WWE put out, and it's added the Yes Movement comes to SmackDown, and then they, like, hastily changed it on the website back the way it was, you know, to remove that.
I like him being involved in the Cruiserweight series with Morrow.
That feels more like a natural fit. Because he doesn't seem very authoritative. You know what I mean? Like, he was anti-authority, and maybe that's the whole thing. Is like, oh, I'm anti-authority. I'm going to be the fun GM. But it almost feels like he shouldn't be a general manager in terms of matchmaking. He should be there as, like, I don't know.
Too bad Barrett didn't work out, man.
Yo, Barrett would have been the best general manager. Could you imagine?
Let's say they didn't want him to wrestle anymore, but they kept him on as GM. I mean, I'm afraid
I've got some bad news. You're going one-on-one with The Undertaker.
In a tag team match.
Could you imagine? We're going to have a tag team match.
Player.
He tries to read all of Teddy's lines. If he came out in one of Teddy's suits, but it was the wrong size, like it was too small for him, and he's just like uncomfortable.
Oh man.
I sent a video to the Facebook message that I made in Final Cut the other day. I can't really show it right now because I have no way to display it, but basically I did a crappy Photoshop job of, have you guys seen that Bon Jovi DirecTV commercial?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it occurred to me that everybody in the commercial fit a certain WWE superstar. So the people on the couch are Steph and Triple H, and Bon Jovi is Chris Jericho. And I photoshopped their heads on, so it looks like Chris Jericho is singing to Triple H and Stephanie. And then at one point he says a line about, giving you back the hair you had. So I faded it from a picture of Triple H bald to a picture of old Triple H. And then at one point it says, the guy that she dated before you or whatever, and the guy pops up on the couch, so I put Test's face over the guy. It's the rudest thing I've ever made. I sent it to my girlfriend. She's like, "You're going to hell," and I'm like, I know. So when you get a chance to watch that, we'll link it on. I'll put it up on a fucking Tag Me a Date too, because it's you if you want to, if you think it's funny enough, so people can see what I'm talking about, so I just don't sound like an insane person talking about something on the internet. Oh, maybe I can play it. Oh, I can probably play it from my phone. All right, let's see if I can do that. Here we go. I'm going to go to the Facebook message where I sent it to you guys. Ryan gave a thumbs up. Ryan should be here soon. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the video as soon as it gets... Oh, it's almost loaded. Okay, it's almost there. Come on. See if it'll play. So I'm going to tap the button. There we go. Oh, no.
You see, we got the power to turn back time, so let's restart the show that started at 9. And while we're at it, let's give you back your due and give her back the guy she liked before you. Hey, that's the power to turn back time.
Yeah, I'm a pretty bad person when it comes down to it. But
That is fucking hilarious.
No, Vince, I saw something that's more offensive today, and this is. I want to just say happy birthday to Josh Eisenberg from CSR.
nice.
Someone sent him a birthday meme, and it had a picture of Chris Benoit, and it said "Happy birthday, don't get all choked up."
Oh, that hurts.
So that's kind of fucked up, but kind of funny. Funny in a horrible way.
Yeah, no.
So that I think is a little worse.
Yeah, definitely. Since we're doing shout-outs here, maybe we should mention, Steve, the person who I saw drop that rumor about Daniel Bryan is Ryan Satin. So we always see him on Twitter, and Eric always mentions that he sees stuff he tweets. So I'm going to say that's the first source I saw. I'm going to give it to him. If I'm wrong, I can edit it, but that's the very first place I saw that rumor was him. So good. If he broke the story, Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's see, what else do we have here? So we have the bookers. Oh, well, who do you think they're going to put as, since we're having what are they calling it, a COO or a CEO one, and then a GM for each company? Who do you think is Steph going to pick? Triple H, or is Steph going to pick? Who would she pick? I would love to see her pick Hulk Hogan.
I mean, everything tells me that it's going to be Triple H.
Yeah. It seems like it really does seem like, but I would love. I mean, he beat the rap. Listen, I wore this because it was the shirt I grabbed out of my closet. But let me just go on a brief rant here. He beat everything. He won the lawsuit. Just hired a guy back, for fuck's sake.
Now we're a Hulkamania.
He could probably buy in and be part of the UFC if he wanted with all that Gawker money.
Oh. We should talk about UFC. I know that's on the list, but
yeah, UFC was sold for $4 billion.
I can access my Geico account 24/7.
Oh no, he was gonna play some. It was probably money. So hey, Ryan Behringer's in. All right, so UFC was not only sold.
Before we get into UFC, how great would it be though if Stephanie McMahon just comes out and all you hear? It still, to this day, gives me goosebumps.
me too.
When the guitar kicks in right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. You remember going to wrestling shows when you were a kid, or seeing him on TV on Saturday mornings.
Dude, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, as a kid, he was the reason I, took my vitamins, ripped all my T-shirts and got in trouble,
Hell yeah.
all that shit. I mean, that's what it was about.
I had the lunchbox.
Oh, yeah. I had the whole weight set.
Oh, yeah, the weight, nice.
With the blue dumbbells.
Yep, then the headband, it came with a little sweatband and everything. Oh, yeah.
And it came with a cassette with Hogan's theme song on it. It was awesome.
That's great.
I was Hulk Hogan.
Steve and we used to cut promos, when we were kids, and we used to have, like, tag team matches against the Couch Monsters and shit like that, dropping the big leg and,
Did they make Hulk Hogan vitamins back in the day? Like, did the WWF?
I remember seeing something like that.
I'm going to Google that because I don't remember. Because I always took...
It sounds familiar.
I always took...
like in the same vein of Flintstone vitamins?
Right, I took Flintstone vitamins all the time. Hulk Hogan, things like there was an actual Hulk Hogan vitamin at one point.
Man, I'll tell you what, I miss those damn ice cream bars.
Yo, can we just please never talk about that again because it makes me so sad? Every time somebody mentions those ice cream bars, I get so...
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Because they were, like, faces aside of who the wrestlers were.
They were good, though.
If that was an ice cream bar with nothing on it, you'd still want to buy it.
But that cookie was delicious.
The cookie made it. The cookie was... Have you ever had a cookie of that texture before? That's the only cookie that I've found that had that same, bite to it and the same taste. Like, you can't replicate that ice cream bar nowadays. There's really no way to replicate that.
I'm sure there'd be ways.
Well, yeah, you have to bake. You would bake sugar cookies in an oval shape, and then you'd have to have you'd scoop ice cream out into a mold, and then you'd freeze it, and then you dip it in chocolate, and then you put the cookie on top of it, and then you stick a fucking stick in it, and you'd stick it in the freezer, and then 3 days later you got yourself a goddamn ice cream bar. Or WWE, make ice cream bars and sell them in the freezer section.
I think they're missing out on a lot of revenue, man.
If they
Put the
brought back
modern day people on it. Put a fucking John Cena. Do you know how many that would
Oh
sell?
yeah.
I'd
You
put a
got John
CM Punk
Cena and
on there just to stick it in his craw.
Oh, speaking of CM Punk, did everybody listen to Dean Ambrose's great promo with Seth Rollins in the ring the other day on Raw?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was his money promo. This was the one where, they talk about your John 3:16s and any of your legendary character-making promos for somebody. This was the one for Dean Ambrose.
100%.
And he even said he took a little dig at Punk and a little dig at Brock about going other places and trying, combat sports and trying to make a dream come true and all this stuff. But he wasn't goofy. He didn't spray anybody with green bullshit. He didn't try and do any pranks or drop poop on somebody. He talked about how he was the best wrestler in the company and the workhorse and the reason that he's a champion. Like, it took everything that was wrong with that character and made it better.
I just hope they don't take the belt from Ambrose already, because
If he's just keeping it warm for somebody, that's...
I hope he's not keeping it warm for Reigns.
Could you fucking imagine the reaction people will have, Ryan? What will happen? Okay, I don't know what would happen in my house. I have a 4K television. I can't throw anything at the TV. It would be too expensive to replace.
I'll
But
break
what-
shit.
Steve's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll break it.
I'll
That
throw
tag me a
that
date
son of a
money.
bitch out a window.
Like Mick
Record
Foley
it.
broke the TV. Yeah, dude. If you break anything, you got to record it. It would be.
Oh, 100%. I'm no joke. I'll break shit.
I'd probably throw
I
my
mean,
phone, but
it's no more reason than the WWE would then be rewarding him for
Right.
failing a wellness policy, and
That's what it would look like. Yeah.
right. And at the end of the day, whatever it is that he failed for, it is what it is. You failed the policy, so you don't get a reward. It's bad enough that they're still rewarding him to even
Right.
be in the title match.
Yeah, he
and
should.
they're having Rollins cut the promos on him, so he's technically the face.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Reigns
being-
has got to
they're
eat
treating
the
him like a
pin.
baby. Yeah, he should eat the pin. He should definitely eat the pin.
I'd have Ambrose be the one who's cutting the promos on Reigns, saying he sullied the title that he worked so hard for.
Yeah. The good thing is everything is kind of wide open still.
That's a good idea, though. They
it's-
need to create some friction between Reigns and Ambrose, too.
Well,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
starting
he
to do that,
DDT'd
though,
him.
because Ambrose
Yeah, that's true.
said some shit during that promo about Roman also.
Yeah,
So that's starting.
It was just the last couple weeks. The main vocal point against Reigns was Rollins.
Right. Yeah, and he's still hammering that home. I think Dean has to play babyface a little bit, but if they're gonna, I think the way to do this is you can't have everybody be. There can't be an overlap. There are three guys, so you can't have two babyfaces and a heel. Basically, what I think they should do is what they're doing, except with a little bit of a, once Roman comes back, there's a little bit of a twist to it. They should have the three guys. Dean's your babyface, white meat babyface, straight up babyface. Rollins can go either way because the crowd cheers for him. They could have him as an in-between guy and then have Reigns as the heel. Then you have three flavors, and depending on who you want to have the title at that point, you can pick your fucking flavor.
And speaking of Rollins, they did a thing where he doctored an old Roman Reigns interview, and it was hysterical.
That was hilarious.
That was good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
I did it.
Yeah, everything that they had him fucking do. Oh my god.
They should have did the doctored in Rikishi's line about "I did it for The Rock."
I did it for the Rock. I did it for the people.
Oh, shut up, you thong-wearing fatty.
I love that. Oh.
So,
we need promos like that. Those kind of put-downy promos.
Well, you need the Rock back.
Yeah.
So, Brock Lesnar wins at UFC 200.
And won fairly convincingly. The second round I scored as a draw. I went 10-9, 9-9, 10-9, and I think that's the way the judges scored it too, but I was watching at home. He came out, he didn't do what everybody expected him to do, which was to go oh, I have to go take him down, and just run at him like he did to Kane. Because he did that, and he ran at Kane, and Kane stuck his hand out, and he ran into Kane's hand and fucking knocked himself out.
Well, because he knows that Mark Hunt's got a vicious fist.
Now, see, this is what I love about this. It's great, and it's also really disappointing because we missed out on like 4 or 5 years of a healthy Brock Lesnar competing in the UFC. He has the mind now for it. He understands it more. He knew that he wasn't going to win with a knockout, and he wasn't going to win probably with a submission. I'll get to that in a second. So he did what he had to do. Him and Daniel Cormier both did the same thing. They were facing strikers. Cormier was facing Silva, who's the greatest striker of all fucking time, and he laid on him, and people booed that he laid on him. What are you going to do? Stand up and let the guy kick you in the fucking head?
Yeah.
Same thing with Mark Hunt. You have to take him down. The only thing I would fault Brock on, please don't hurt me, Brock, I love you, is he's only a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. There were a couple times, here's what he was trying to do. He was almost like Big Country kept trying to go for this crucifix on Thursday night, and he wasn't fully getting the crucifix so he could get the ground and pound with the elbows and win the fight. Brock was trying to smother him like he did to Frank Mir and end it with those little hammer fists. The problem is, Mark Hunt's Samoan, and I don't know if you know about these guys, they have big fucking hard-ass Samoan heads. That's real life. They try and make it a wrestling thing, it's real life. You can't knock this guy out. The next day, his head's swollen like a goddamn watermelon, but you're never going to knock him out. There were a couple times Brock had side control position, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu side control, and he was trying to position into a mount, but Mark Hunt kept rolling and giving him the back. If he was a little bit better at the jiu-jitsu game, because what I noticed was Brock is really going for the pin, like the amateur wrestling pin. There was a time, like sometimes when somebody gets rolled up, like a guy kind of uses their shoulder and their head to roll them into position. Brock did that and then held Mark Hunt there, and I was counting. I'm like, 1. Okay, he got a point, and he rolled him up, same point, and I'm like, you're pinning the shoulders, Brock, but it doesn't matter. You're not getting the points that way. So when Hunt rolled over, if he was able to transition from side control to the back, he could have ended it either strikes from the back or a fucking rear naked choke. And I think if he fights next time, the 2 things he has to work on now is striking to finish and the jiu-jitsu. Because the wrestling is so good and he's smothering them. If he can get submissions in there, he's going to be a fucking monster. Because none of those heavyweight guys, aside from DC, does the grapple game like that. That's a fight I'd like to see. DC, Brock Lesnar, that could be a good fight. But of course, Brock has to work his way up. Brock might come into the rankings at number 10 because he beat number 8. I don't know, but he should be in the top 10, and I think he should probably get a title fight if he wins 2 more. That's my take on it. But
does he have any intention of even doing that? Is the question.
He refused to comment on it at the press conference because I guess he doesn't want to give anything away because he wants to sell the pay-per-view. He goes, the only thing I know for certain is I'm wrestling Randy Orton at SummerSlam. That was it.
Right.
Gotta give him credit for promoting that.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And I think he's going to promote that.
I
think he's going to fight again.
He's, how pissed would UFC, like, I'm talking hardcore UFC fans don't like wrestling, be if after Brock wins this fight against Mark Hunt, and then they put Orton over him at SummerSlam.
The plan is not for Orton to go over.
They better not.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, how pissed would the UFC faithful be?
The only way that would work is if, like, he shot him with a gun. I'm trying to figure out ways that Randy Orton can beat Brock Lesnar, and the only way I can think is if he had a fucking gun.
What if he actually pulled out
Randy
a real
Orton
Viper?
should have jumped into the octagon after the fight and given him an RKO.
Everybody was talking about that on Facebook. I would have fucking loved it.
That would have been amazing.
Interfered in the game.
You know what's amazing?
Just to really piss off the UFC fans.
Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar feud, like, major pay-per-view thing ever.
Well, you know what's going to be great? I'm already picturing it. Brock has Randy up, throws him for the F5, RKO, into a 2 count. They're going to do that like 10, 15 minutes into the match, and you think it's the end of the match. And Michael Cole's going to go, RKO out of nowhere! And then JBL's going to go, ball game! And then he's going to kick out at 2. He's going to kick out at 2, and everybody's going to...
I think it's going to be a close call. It's not going to be a complete shutout.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be close. You got to keep Randy Orton.
Orton has to come across looking very strong in this match. and take the loss. But he's got to look strong. He's coming back off a long hiatus, and the fact that he's going to have to lose, he's got to look strong. It's not going to be Suplex City bitch for 25 minutes. It's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a fight.
And I think now we're 2 or 3 years. What are we? 3 years from the time that he did that Suplex City, the first thing with John Cena, where he just suplexed.
I think
him
it was
forever.
2.
2 years. All right.
Yeah.
So we're 2 years from that. The Suplex City thing has been big. They're still calling him the mayor of Suplex City in the video games. But I think with this fight with Mark Hunt, you can change up his character a little bit and bring it back to that amateur style.
Like when he was wrestling Angle and guys like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if he can bring that to the game,
I agree, because
in
I'm
addition
a
to the
little
suplex,
tired of the whole suplex bullshit.
I like the suplexes because he can throw a guy a fucking mile. But the problem is then they made that
It
the
gets
only
old,
move
though,
that he
a
did.
little bit.
How about we get one more Kurt Angle Brock Lesnar match?
Please.
If
I know.
only.
Listen, Kurt Angle is held together with bits of string and gum at this point. I understand. But one more is not too much to ask.
It would be a phenomenal match.
And I know I'm saying that about Kurt Angle, but he hasn't wrestled in a while. The last match he wrestled was Rey Mysterio, right?
Yeah.
Well, but
That
he's got some shows, as you know,
He
that he'll
has
be wrestling soon.
a very important show coming up, which I cannot wait for.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
August 27th, because we got a big weekend that weekend.
Jushin
It is.
Thunder Liger, right?
Okay, we got to talk about this for a brief second. August 27th is a Saturday night, and it's Northeast Wrestling is Wrestling Under the Stars tour. We're finishing up the tour, and we usually do a big-ass show to finish things up in New York. And once again, the Hudson Valley Renegades and Dutchess Stadium have graciously hosted this event. They've been hosting it the last 5 years, so they've been here since the beginning. Joe Asano from the Renegades, former New York Yankee, has been a big help promoting this because he's a part of their promotions team. This is the show to go to. If there's any fucking wrestling show that you're going to go to in this area in this summer, this is the fucking show. Because not only do we have Northeast Wrestling regular and Northeast and wrestling legend by extension, Jerry the King Lawler coming in, who's always there for us and very supportive. We have some other faces that come in a lot, Matt and Jeff Hardy, which Broken Matt and Brother Nero are going to be there. They're going to be wrestling in separate matches, though, because I'm not sure who Matt is working right now. I can look that up. Jeff is wrestling Japanese legend Jushin Thunder Liger. Holy fucking shit.
That's amazing.
And I've seen both of these guys work live. Well, actually, I've seen Jeff work live so many times. I don't think I've seen Jushin work live recently, but they're both. Jushin's a little bit older, but they're both crazy. These two guys are going to go and put their bodies on the line.
Liger's 50, but he can still go.
He's 50 and he wrestles like he's 30-something. It's great. So Jeff Hardy Jushin Liger is going to be a barn burner. Also, the former Hornswoggle, Dylan Postal, Swoggle, as he goes by now, so you can check out his t-shirt store. He's going to be there. But the fucking match that they announced just a couple weeks ago, because you saw the checklist on Twitter, one of those names gets checked off August 27th. Yep. Cody Rhodes against Kurt Angle. They're calling it the American Dream match because we have the Dream against the Olympic hero. and they're selling a t-shirt. There's a t-shirt. If you go and you have to Google it because I don't even know what it's fucking called. There's a t-shirt that has a drawing of both of these guys, and it's promoting the 27th match, but it's donating to, I believe, a children's cancer charity or something like that. So it's a good cause, and I can't believe this. I'm geeked out. I'm working the show and I'm geeked out. Kurt Angle against Cody Rhodes, Jeff Hardy against Jushin Liger.
I'll be making the drive for that.
Hell yeah! And of course, because I know Steve, you're going to be there, right?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
Stacy will be there probably. We'll be getting a table, but I'm gonna have to get there after work, and I don't even know how far it is from where I'm at, but I'll get there.
Yeah, but no, I'm serious. This will be a fun one. The whole Wrestling Under the Stars tour that's coming up is, holy crap, it's great. There was one in Ohio that I couldn't make this weekend because I was DJing, but we've got one in Rockland coming up, Rockland County, New York.
Boulders.
Yeah, Pittsfield, Mass, Bethany. We had a lot of Bethany dates lined up. Rockland is going to be good if you're in New York because you've got.
Jamie and Dave will be there.
Excellent.
Backyard.
Matt and Jeff Hardy, Velvet Sky, Jerry Lawler, Mick Foley. And making his first Northeast Wrestling appearance, I think, ever. I'm safe to say that. Damian Sandow
Very nice.
in Rockland on the 30th. So
That's awesome.
that'll be fun. And then Ric Flair is going to be there on the 30th as well in Rockland, so July 30th. So
we're gonna have to talk about it too, because that's in my backyard. That's like 10 minutes from the house. So I've already talked to Bull, and
that's awesome.
Maybe we'll all go out afterwards.
Hell yeah. That'd be great. So, I mean, listen, if you guys want to go, definitely check it out. Oh, is Noel going to be there? Looks like Mick's bringing Noel, so that's an extra bonus for you fellas out there. Well, also Maria's going to be there, so that could be fun. Mike Bennett's also going to be there, but,
the Miracle.
I mentioned the leaders, but the Miracle, is he, I don't know if anybody been watching Impact? I
watched,
I try and keep up.
Last Tuesday.
Yeah, and Mike Bennett had the X Division title and then lost it in an Ultimate X match.
Yep.
He was going to cash in on Lashley, but now it's Eddie Edwards cashing in on Lashley for the title match. But Mike Bennett has promised to ruin the Destination X well, it's not a pay-per-view. It's a special event it's being called Destination X, but it's broadcasting on Tuesday night. So he's threatened to ruin the event because he didn't get his title shot that he thought he deserved. So we'll see. I wish somebody would do something right with Mike Bennett, and I hope this is the step towards it, because Mike Bennett deserves all the success in the world. He's a hard worker. He's a good-looking guy. He's got a good look, good gear,
and he's a nice guy.
And he's really a nice guy. He deserves the success. And I think I'm hoping this is setting up a world title run for Mike Bennett, because I don't care if it's a TNA world title. I'll still get to say Mike Bennett's a world champion. He never got it in Ring of Honor. He should have got it in Ring of Honor, by the way, but he never got it in Ring of Honor. He might get it in TNA. We shall see.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they should have kept it on Drew a little bit longer and have Bennett the heel.
Well, that's their whole trouble. That's TNA's trouble, period, is that they bounce the titles around too much.
Yeah. I don't think Lashley needed it this time.
One time they gave away the women's title in a box.
Yeah.
You know who I've actually enjoyed in TNA, as far as on the mic? Eli Drake. The dummy
People are
segments
talking about him
does,
like he's a up and comer, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on him.
They're entertaining, his dummy skits.
Excellent. How is the undercard looking for TNA? I know they've got like the Decay is part of it and Crazy. I'm shocked. A guy named Crazy Steve is still wrestling like 5 years later. But I love it because it's very simple. What's his name? Crazy Steve. Well, he's crazy. Well, fuck, okay. He's crazy.
He's fucking
Steve.
crazy.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. It's a pretty simple gimmick.
Crazy with two Z's.
Crazy with two Z's. So every time I read it, I call him Crazy
Really
Steve.
crazy.
Like when I read it in my head, I go, "Oh, Crazy Steve's back. Crazy guy." Like, that was Dan Aykroyd and
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. The two. What do they call them? I know they were Wild and Crazy Guys, but they were like they had a specific name for
They're
the
from
foreign.
like Czechoslovakia or something.
Yeah, and they Wild and Crazy Guys. Oh, so good.
You can see our bulges.
You can see. Now that would be great if Crazy Steve came out and he's like, "I'm Crazy Steve. You can see my bulges." Sorry. But I kind of like, I haven't watched TNA, and I watched an episode last week for the final deletion, Brother Nero, and it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't my favorite television show of the week, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day we had fucking Samoa Joe get thrown in the back of a white van and driven off. They didn't talk about it ever again.
Never to be spoken about again. Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up like a week later, like nothing happened.
Yeah. Oh, so not only is
sword that looked like a penis drawn on his face.
Yes, he had the penis mark on his face, which was
not like that.
I always thought they would do something like that with Samoa Joe if he ever made it to WWE. Like if Umaga was still alive, it would be like Umaga and Jumaga, and like they would just be like two big Samoan guys. But did you hear? Not only did the UFC get sold to WME and a couple other investors for $4 billion with a B dollars. Holy
That's
shit!
Ridiculous.
Dana White gets to afford all kinds of wax for the top of his shiny head. Dave Meltzer is once again reporting that TNA is quote unquote close to being sold.
But this has gone on for years now. This
yeah. Well, now what they're saying is they've backed off on Dixie being the majority owner still. So that makes it a lot more viable for other companies. She still wants to retain a minority ownership, just like Lorenzo, the Fertitta brothers, and Dana White. They're all maintaining minority ownerships in the UFC, but they're selling it out. So they want to maintain Dixie. I think they want to maintain Dixie in some kind of role, but she can't run the day-to-day operations. She shouldn't run the day-to-day operations.
Nope.
And that's not a knock against Dixie. I mean, it's the facts speak for themselves. It's been 10 or 15 years, and
it's a hard thing to do.
Like every time a Slammiversary pay-per-view comes around, they go, "This is our Slammiversary, TNA. We started on weekly pay-per-views. Nobody ever thought we'd get anywhere. And guess what? We're on TV now." It's like, yeah, but every time you say it, and they're like, "This is our year," and then like Slammiversary 2008, they're like, "This is our year," and like 2009, how many years is it going to be your year, guys? Like you gotta.
But she's lucky though. She's had Bob and Janice's money for a long time.
Not anymore though. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the Harris brothers being in charge, but, you know, as long as they're not booking things, I guess I'm okay with that.
Just imagine there was a scenario where Paul Heyman could have had control.
There was. Well, here was the thing. Do you remember? He did an interview, and I forget it was some radio station or somebody, and he said that the first thing he would do if he went into TNA was he'd cut off anybody's head who was 40 or older.
Yep.
It's like, that was exactly. He's like, "I'm going to go in and cut off everybody's head who's over 40. I'm like, fuck, that's half the roster. TNA would be down to nope. And, I mean, look, he was prescient. He was very, very... He ended up being right in the end because look at what they did. They got rid of all the fucking guys who were 40 or older except for what? Matt and Jeff?
Yeah.
They're like the oldest guys on the roster.
He may not have been the greatest businessman, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. But he knew how to display someone's strengths and hide their weaknesses.
See,
you got a book.
Every promoter has their own strengths and weaknesses. Vince McMahon has his wheelhouse of if he can have a fucking white meat babyface like Hulk Hogan and a big heel monster like George Steele or John Cena with Umaga or Diesel against Shawn Michaels or Bret against Shawn. That's the kind of shit he likes. He can book that shit very well. You go outside of that, not so much. This is a guy that's built $1 billion empire, but at the same time, he has little bits and pieces that other people need to fill in. Like Shane fills in a little bit. Steph and Triple H each fill in a little bit. Heyman fills in a little bit. If Heyman had somebody like Vince fucking reining him in and telling him, "No, listen, I don't give a fuck if you think Rollerball is going to be the best movie ever. You don't step away from ECW for Rollerball," or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah. Look at Russo.
Oh, yeah, Russo was only good when he had somebody above him telling him no. You had to filter his ideas.
To rein him in and focus him.
And it wasn't just like at the time the booking committee for a little bit was Vince, Pat Patterson, Kevin Dunn, Jim Cornette, and Vince McMahon. And Jim Cornette goddamn near killed himself. Like, you don't know how. I listened to all of his shoot interviews. He hated working there because at one point it was just it ended up being an echo chamber because as much as Vince wants people to reel him in and express their own opinions and whatever, he also wants people to agree with him. He's the guy that wants to be on that puts stuff on the chopping block. He wants to say, you know, "Johnny, Jimmy, you, what do you got?" and then chop that stuff down and make it show, rather than saying, "Hey, I've got this idea," and then they all shit on it. And he's like, "No, that's not what he's looking for. If he brings up the idea, you had to go with it. If somebody else brought up the idea, you were allowed to criticize it." Despite the fact that Charlie dislikes Jim Cornette, if you watch any of his shoot videos, you will learn a lot. Also, same thing with Raven. I don't know if you guys have had any.
I've heard Raven a few times.
Raven, I've never met him in person. I've heard he's a weird guy, but then again, he seems like a weird guy, so I wouldn't expect any less. But if you listen to his shoot interviews, it was a couple of years ago he did a series, I think it was either with RF Video or with Ring of Honor, where he did an In the Ring with Raven, and he did 5 or 6 different parts. And one of them was how to work as a babyface, one was how to work as a heel, one was just like general, he was just talking about the business and answering questions. They're fantastic. So if anybody who's trying to get into the business wants a sense of what to do, those In the Ring with Ravens DVDs shoots are fantastic. He's another guy, because he worked for the WWF.
Johnny Polo.
Johnny Polo, and he was in The Office. He was best friends with Shane McMahon in like '92.
Well, that was part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because he was into drugs and he was getting Shane somewhat involved, and that's when the first time they let him go.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I feel like he's such a mind that, yes, we got classic matches and classic angles with Raven, the character Raven, but that was because he made those fucking bad choices. You know, it's turning a positive into a negative at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's like,
if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have gotten the Raven character.
If he stayed clean, would he still be Johnny Polo or Johnny Flamingo or whatever the fuck? You know,
Scotty Flamingo.
Scotty Flamingo. Yeah, that was right. Was that the WCW one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In WWF, he managed the Quebecers, and I think he managed Adam Bomb briefly.
Did he have a croquet mallet? That was his thing.
I think so.
That's fucking great. I remember Adam Bomb when he debuted. I was watching like Saturday morning or whatever it was when he debuted.
Harvey Wimbledon.
Yeah, and he used to have, after he did his deal, he had like the food color dyed his tongue green.
Yeah.
So he'd put down these goggles, and the goggles had the hazardous material sign on them and holograms, and he'd do that thing, and his tongue was green, and you're like, oh, this guy's radioactive. Like
3 Mile Island.
From 3 Mile Island. It was so great. That's what I like that shit. And then at the same time, sometimes I watch Chikara and I'm like, wow, this is so fucking goofy. And then sometimes I want this guy from 3 Mile Island. So I'm in the middle.
Yeah. His interview with Jericho was great. On Talk is Jericho.
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet. I'm gonna have to give that a
sit down, listen.
look.
It's a good interview.
You talking about the road stories?
There are so many podcasts now, and so many wrestlers have podcasts. It's really hard to.
Everybody has one. I mainly just listen to Jericho and Austin.
You ever listen
somebody said JR, but they're
I
complaining
like
JR was too many commercials.
His who's he imitate every podcast? I think Jimmy Cornette. He does an impression every time, and he drives me nuts. Because it's the same line over and over and over.
What line?
He's oh, Jimmy, you dog, and Jared is not a good impression.
My favorite was always Jim Cornette calling Kevin Dunn a buck-toothed beaver motherfucker, and then
nothing. It wasn't vulgar.
When Jim Cornette would make the face with the teeth, I'm like, oh no.
There's a video of Jim Cornette sitting with Paul Bearer, as Percy Pringle, or whatever, William Moody, whatever his real name was, and basically together shit on Kevin Dunn the entire time.
Yeah,
it's hysterical. It's a really entertaining video.
There are two great shoot videos. One's with Cornette, and then it's Cornette and Paul Bearer, Moody, and then there's one with Bobby Heenan and Moody, and that was fucking awesome.
Oh my god, I gotta see that.
And it was right before you can tell though it's right before Brain had any of the surgeries, because he still sounded like himself, but he had a very, like, you could tell there was something in there when he was
around the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you remember when he gave that speech? Yeah, it's that kind of speech impediment thing, because it was the tumor or whatever was growing and impeding his speech. I still feel, but that guy was the best fucking talker
he was
in the world, and he gets taken down a peg with a mouth disease. It's a terrible affliction.
It's a shame he didn't get a run with WWE again after WCW failed.
It's too bad he's not in good health now, because he could still do video stuff for him.
Oh, amazing.
His commentary during WrestleMania 17, he's like, by the time the Iron Sheik gets to the ring, it's going to be WrestleMania 37.
And then what he was doing, Mean Gene was trying to shake his hand, and he was like,
the looking into the
crowd. My favorite, the ultimate Bobby Heenan was Rumble 92.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not fair to Flair! That's not fair to Flair!
I happen to love that one, but I disagree. I think the all-time best Bobby Heenan moment of all time was when Hogan turned heel and he finally got to tell all the humanoids that he was right. For all these years, he had been telling us, and he was right. And it was one of the greatest ever.
Although he almost fucked it up by saying, whose
side is he on?
That's what Heenan always did that with Hogan. He always
see, that was the thing.
Or when Pillman was doing some shit, and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, get the fuck off of me, or whatever it was, because he had just had neck surgery, and he thought Pillman was gonna pick him up and put him in a headlock or something. and fuck his neck up again.
Yeah.
So he told me, get the fuck. Oh, all right. Here was another good one. They introduced a nitro cologne, and then one of the nitro girls came out and sprayed it, and the commentators were all putting it over. And as soon as the girl sprayed it, Bobby Heenan goes, "Oh, this just smells like shit." Like, he just starts talking shit. Brand new product. Just came out. They want people to buy it. All the other commentators are going, "Oh my god!" And Tony Schiavone's like, "It's the greatest night in the history of our sport." And then he's just like, "Yeah, it smells like shit."
He knew how to play that heel role.
Yeah. Oh, he knew how to do it to a T. It was even when he got to that point where he was like a legend and people liked him, he still could do it. Any final thoughts before we close up?
TagMeAdate.com. Check out our first commercial. It's up on YouTube. And sign up. It's growing. And massive updates have been applied. It's running better than it's ever run, and we got even more coming, so stay tuned.
Excellent. Yeah, we got some stuff to share, I'm sure. Put those videos up on the Tag Me a Date page. Share them, link them to me so I can share them on my page because I'll forget. But if you want to put up the one that I put in the messenger about the Chris Jericho Bon Jovi commercial, you can definitely post that.
That fit perfectly.
I sent that over to Matthew. I'm trying to get it as one of the endings for Botchamania, but we'll see.
And folks, if you're looking for a great lead-in for SmackDown Live, starting next week with the draft, it's the War Report.
Next week is going to be our draft day special.
Yep.
So we'll talk about our draft picks. Ryan has something set up. What do you got there, Ryan?
Worst draft moments.
Worst draft moments.
Yeah.
I got it.
Between now and then, we could do a top 5 who should go on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, we could each pick our five and five.
I was thinking for each, like, discuss it throughout the week and lay out 1 through 5 for each of us.
Yeah, I think that would
not even each of us, just as the group.
Oh, and overall, put that in the put it in the spreadsheet. We'll do it.
Cool.
So we'll add it for the spreadsheet. Just keep reminding us, and we got a lot of stuff coming up, which is good.
Oh yeah.
I like the little commercial we got. We got a lot of little things like that going to crop up, and yeah, just sign up. TagMeAdate.com. Wrestling Night is your date night, and we're the only dating site for wrestling fans. Trust me, I've searched. It doesn't exist. We're the only ones. We wouldn't have been able to. We wouldn't be able to say it if we weren't.
Yeah, in other sites you can't find wrestling fans.
Again, we stress WrestlersOnly.com is not a real site.
Wait.
Now that would be. Listen. I think we would all sign up for both websites and frequent both of them because the only way to work the whole online dating thing is really scattershot. You have to put yourself out there. So if you've tried Plenty of Fish and OkCupid and Farmers Only and Match.com and Black People Meet and Tattoo People
and
Meet
Christian
and
Mingle and all that.
Christian Mingle, which just got sued and has to allow homosexuals to sign up. Did you hear that? Discrimination. They were saying the whole thing with Christian Mingle is like, oh, we're for Christian people. So they didn't think that there would be like Christian homosexuals, so they like didn't allow them to sign up. And now there was a lawsuit.
Will there be a lawsuit against Grindr to allow straight people?
Right. See, I don't.
Sorry.
But I just find it funny that first of all, it's a dating site. It's really relevant to us, and second of all, they got fined. Like they had to pay each person in the lawsuit like $90,000 or something.
Wow.
We don't have to do that because anybody can sign up. We don't give a shit where you stick your thing. Dude,
I still don't get that point.
Right?
I'm gonna go to a site that strictly prohibits what I want to search for. I'll find someone there.
Wrestlers Only is not a real website, but TagMeADate.com is, and you should sign up.
It'd be like going to Tag Me a Date and hating wrestling.
Oh, that would be great. What if we should do that as an experiment. Set up one person, like a fake account that just hates wrestling.
That would be fun.
Just message people. You're like, why do you like wrestling?
But you bring it on every week to the updates.
Oh,
and
no.
someone messaged Justin this.
Just send an email. Don't you know this crap is fake? What are you doing? Like. Oh, we're terrible people. All right, if we never stop, we're just going to keep talking. We'll go to 10 o'clock. So, Steve, hit the button. Visit TagMeADate.com. First 30 days are free. Sign up before we start charging money, and we're going to use that Tag Me a Date money to sail around the world with champagne and bitches. I don't know.